Yo, what is going on, you aged Aegis Slash? That is right, Zoroark is sick in the Malamar deck. It gives us a ton of safety to have a Zorua or Zoroark in play, and makes it really awkward for our opponent to even consider going after KOing our Artillery or chasing down our Cinccino's, which kind of forces them more often than not down the route of just going after our Malamars, which is exactly what we want them to do. And at that point, we can turn our Zoroark into, well, another Malamar if we need that to attack with, or we can turn the Zoroark into a Cinccino, so we just have more make-dos to work with. And if we have like a Zorua or Zoroark in play, and our opponent does choose to go down the route of chasing our Artillery, well, then we can immediately get out another Artillery on the following turn through the Zoroark without having to have had like a second Remoraid in place. Because as soon as you put down two Remoraid or you have two Artillery in your play, your opponent immediately goes, well, I'm just not going to KO that now. I'm going to go a different route. So having the Zoroark in play just makes it that much better as like a safety net to cover everything possibly on our board. If we only have one Malamar in play, they KO that, boom, Zoroark becomes Malamar. They start chasing our Cinccino lines down, boom, Zoroark becomes Cinccino. They go after Artillery, same thing there. Zoroark becomes the Artillery. It's super great in the deck and just keeps the deck flowing super well. And it's almost got me to the point where I want to cut Artillery completely, because it almost just feels like the Zoroark line becomes like a 6/6 Cinccino in the deck, because that's usually what my Zoroarks are becoming, is Cinccinos, either after my opponent chases them or just after I naturally draw into the Zorua and the Zoroark over some Cinccino pieces. As I draw into the Cinccino and can put that in the discard pile, the Zoroark just becomes another Cinccino. So that's actually something I'm considering maybe trying out, just cutting the Artillery completely. Now the rest of the list is basically the same as my other Malamar list. I actually just cut a 1/1 Artillery, the Passimian, and I actually forget the other card I cut, but I cut another card as well for the 2/2 Zoroark line. And yeah, it's felt great so far, so I wanted to share it with you guys. This is the first deck that I've actually played the Zoroark with where it's actually felt good. Everything else up to this point has felt pretty mediocre, but big fan of this so far. Yeah, and the Zoroark has been absolutely disgusting in the deck. So before we get into some games, I do want to give a big shout out to Full Grip Games and let you guys know that they're always buying cards. So if you guys got a bunch of Pokemon cards sitting around, whether it's bulk, commons and uncommons, or GXs and Vs and whatever else it might be, if you guys want some extra cash and want to get rid of the cards you'll probably never use, go over to fullgripgames.com and then go over to their buy list. They're always buying cards from bulk to pretty much anything else. You can check out their buy list there and see if you got anything that they're looking for. You can also trade in your bulk for sealed products like booster boxes and ETB. So if you're interested in something like that, that is available as well. So make sure you go ahead and check it out. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And let's go ahead and let's get into some games. All right, our fate is up to our opponent here in this first one, as they did win the coin flip. They are choosing to go first here. We have got a great start overall, except for the lack of draw supporter, I guess. I'm gonna go ahead and open the Zorua here. Zorua is usually just kind of protection to protect our other Pokemon, but in this situation, when we have all the other Pokemon that we might need, especially early on, yeah, it's just good to open the Zorua and kind of give it up to our opponent as yeah, as kind of the sacrifice early on here. Get rid of the Zorua. They can have that one, sack that one, and then go into the rest of our Pokemon. We're up against the Suicune Ludicolo deck, which I think is actually a super close matchup. Every time I play this matchup, it always feels super close, especially if they know how to handle the matchup and go into attacking with the Shady Dealings Inteleon. That's a huge deal in this matchup, is attacking with the Shady Dealings Inteleon. So as long as they know that is part of, you know, something they can utilize throughout a game, then it's gonna be a close one, I think, for sure, because it's super good in this matchup to use the Shady Dealings Inteleon. So we'll see if my opponent has any idea how to tackle this matchup or not as we go through it. Gotta capture energy down here, get themselves another Suicune. And here comes that fleet-footed. What else they get on this turn, but it looks like that might be most of it. But pretty good setup for my opponent. They got the energy on the first turn onto a Suicune. So they're gonna have a ton of options on the second turn, especially as far as boss goes. And that's what I'm most scared of, just kind of like a boss KO on my Inkay or my Minccino, or kind of anything, to be honest. But there's the Krina's Focus top deck. That's huge. And there's another Inkay. So that'll help us establish our board a little bit better. Throw down the Spiral Energy, throw down the Krina's Focus to draw some more cards. And I mean, the hand fell off a little bit here, I'm not gonna lie. And I think we're just gonna go ahead and pass over to my opponent here. Yeah, the hand fell off a little bit after that. Not a whole ton to work with. After that, just kind of drew a lot of Pokemon, which is great if we have the evolutions, but we're about to lose the Zorua. We don't have a Remoraid down, so yeah, we're gonna miss out on a couple, or trying to utilize a couple. We're gonna miss out on trying to utilize a couple of these Pokemon on the next turn. We're gonna have a little bit of a rough next turn, I think, for sure. Unless my opponent whiffs the knockout, but I don't see that happening. Got the Sobbles down, a decent hand, and then they also, you know, they have the fleet-footed as well, so I don't see my opponent whiffing the KO this turn. The question is going to be, what do they go after here? But yeah, there's the Drizzile. So at the very least, they could find themselves a Capacious Bucket and take a knockout on my Zorua. At the very least. At the very most, they do a lot more than that. And that's what I'm mostly scared of, is more than that happening. But there's the Bucket. The KO at the very least is coming in, like I said. I guess what they KO is going to be kind of the question here. They have options. So what the KO is going to be the question. Do they have the boss to work with? Are they just going to have to attach active? Here comes the second Drizzile. So boss is definitely an option here. Marnie would also be a pretty good option here, I think, as well for my opponent. Got a 6-card hand. They could go ahead and make it less. They are going for the boss option though. If I had to guess, I'd assume they're going to go after my Minccino, which is, yeah, that's pretty brutal, to be honest. I guess we can technically handle it. We're going to have to handle it. We don't really have a choice, but we don't want to handle that. That is pretty brutal for my opponent to go after my Minccino here. So maybe they go after the Inkay. Okay, that's actually exactly what we wanted to see here. We don't want to see the Minccino go down, but if they want to go after that Inkay, by all means, have at it. We don't really need the Inkay anyways. So my opponent gets his Inkay KO, but we're 100% okay with that. Got ourselves the Scoop Up Net is like just a bad top deck here. It does absolutely nothing. We're only gonna be able to Karina's Focus again for 4 because the top deck is not moving anywhere. Karina's Focus for 4. I'm gonna start with a make do on this. We just need to find a lot of Pokemon here. Like if I could just pick something to find, it'd be a lot of Pokemon. That's a pretty good start to find some Pokemon. This is a pretty lackluster follow-up to find some Pokemon. Oh, I should have made do the Artillery there actually, so I could have got it out with the Zoroark. I don't know what I was thinking there. Let's grab a Cinccino. Let's play some level balls. Grab myself a Minccino, and then a level ball again. Grab myself a Inkay here. Inkay, Minccino. It's kind of trapped in the hand. We could go ahead and get rid of 2 here. And hit for 80. Not the end of the world. Not the greatest. Gonna have to settle for it, though. Gonna have to be fine with it. 80 hit on to the Suicune. And we can make the Zoroark into a lot of things on the next turn. We're probably going to push up the Inkay and then figure out... Yeah, the hand's pretty good to move on the next turn, though. Evolve to, play the research. Another reason Zoroark's actually pretty good overall is just to stop the quick shooting KOs potentially on the Inkays. Only 50 HP, double quick shooting or even some kind of quick shooting plus a snipe attack can take them out. But when we have just like a Zoroark sitting there that can become a Malamar, or even a Zorua with that 70 HP, that's like an extra quick shooting my opponent would possibly need to get the KO. So it makes it quite a bit more difficult to get a KO on something like the Zorua. So that's like another thing, another way that the Zoroark kind of comes in clutch, is kind of protecting, or not really protecting the Inkays, but by being an Inkay kind of itself, or something that can become a Malamar, it kind of protects it in that way. So another way that the Zoroark is super sick. Here comes a Cape, so a little bit more HP we're gonna have to get through here. Could also be for the bench Suicune, I guess. Here they could attach it to the bench one. And there goes that fleet-footed. Probably should have considered fleet-footing before using the shady dealing. So maybe a bit of a missequence there from my opponent. You usually want to fleet-footed first, because if you just draw into one of those cards, then the shady dealings can go get any other card potentially, which could be that much better potentially for your following turns, future turns. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a late fleet-footed there from my opponent, but let's see how much it hurts them. Okay, so we're going to need for 5, getting harder and harder. We need 5 Rapid Strike cards to KO this Suicune. No quick shootings online yet from my opponent, so it's not something I have to worry about resetting damage. Yeah, I don't have to worry about resetting damage quite yet. Hopefully we top deck. If I had to pick a top deck, I would pick... I mean, I probably should have made this Zoroark an Artillery, to be honest. Like, the more I think about it, the more I should have made this Zoroark into an Artillery. I could have already had, like, a Malamar in my hand or something. Oh, they actually have the boss. Second boss. I actually maybe saw them grab that boss, and I wasn't paying attention, to be honest. On my Cinccino. We can recover the Cinccino with the Zoroark. That's what I was talking about. The Zoroark can kind of become anything. And in this situation, it's probably now... Ooh, the Spiral Energy is okay if they knocked out my Malamar. Less good now, but I can still throw it on that Inkay. And then here we go with the research. And like I said, we need 5 Rapid Strike cards. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 potentially. Could make do away with the Zoroark. We're getting closer. Let's make do away with the Zoroark first. 2. And get an Inkay. So we basically have 5 there. I don't even need to use this Zoroark. We could even check the Great Ball first to make sure it hits something. Actually, I don't know if this is going to hit an Inkay, because I don't know. We can play this first, maybe. There is an Inkay in there. Okay, but now I need the Great Ball to hit, potentially. Oh, no. I'm taking this out of my deck, which... lessens the, can I get that, please? Which lessens the odds here. I'm gonna grab this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets the Inkay. We could take the Inkay first because we know this has to get Inkay, which actually increases my odds of getting one of the other Pokemon. And then play this. Okay, we got the Remoraid. And we're not going to make the Zoroark into anything quite yet. We're going to hold off on that. We'll still have it as an option on the next turn. Once again, another cool thing about the Zoroark, we don't have to do it immediately. We can just wait. We can just wait until we need something. Sometimes I've like sat there with my board and then I've gone with like triple Cincino at the end of the game or something like that. We do have that as an option because yeah, there's nothing forcing us to like pop it right now and use the Zoroark's ability. We're going to chill. Pretty good setup now. Got a couple Cincinos online. Could all the way go all the way up to triple Cincino next turn if we do want to use that Zoroark. And we need to get through a couple more Suicunes here. My opponent's third Suicune is getting set up. Here they go. The second one is set up. Let's see if they get a cape for it. Definitely would prefer. Oh, there it is. So now we need 7 Rapid Strike cards. 7 Rapid Strike cards. That is a lot. We already have the energy set up on the Inkay, which is nice. So that's a good start for us. Like I said, we have access to triple Make Do thanks to the Zoroark here. And we got the Bruno as well, which is the best draw supporter to kind of set ourselves up to get all those Rapid Strike cards because we don't really discard any Rapid Strike cards as we go to get there. Like we don't play Research or something, I guess is what I mean. We don't have to do something like Research to do it. You guys get what I'm saying. We don't have to research, so we don't lose Rapid Strike cards in the process of acquiring just more cards, which is hopefully enough Rapid Strike cards to get the knockout for the turn. Excuse me. All right. But my opponent's not done with their turn yet. Hopefully they don't have another boss. I really would not like to deal with another boss here from my opponent. Hopefully they just have an attack. They just attack me, and I get to keep this hand. Marnie also would be pretty bad, to be honest. My hand is really good right now. Who knows what it would become. Oh, they actually got an escape rope here. But I think I can just go ahead and set up the Inkay here, and I would be fine with setting up the Inkay. Raihan coming down as well, so the third Suicune is getting set up. And my opponent not going about the route of actually utilizing the Shady Dealings Inteleon as an attacker, which is an extremely strong attacker in this matchup, actually. Yeah, my opponent doesn't see that play at all. Here comes a quick shooting now. Don't think we're going to have to worry about those, though. I might have to towards the end of the game, which means I really want to get that other Zorua down at some point. Yeah, I want to get the Zorua down and like an Inkay. I want to get like Zorua Inkay next turn, ideally. We definitely get the Inkay off the Fog Crystal. If they go with an escape rope here, we have the Inkay. They did grab the escape rope. Fleet-footed last once again. Guys, remember, fleet-footed almost always first. Not all the time, but most of the time, fleet-footed first. And there's the Blizzard Rondo. Goodbye, Malamar. So we get the Inkay off this. Got a Cincino, potentially triple Cincino once again through the Zoroark. And then the Bruno to draw a bunch of cards and shuffle Rapid Strike cards potentially back into the deck. 2 Rapid Strike cards back into the deck now. That is the power of the Bruno in this deck. The Zorua is in there, and then we have the Rod to recover the Zoroark for the future. So we definitely want to try and find, because they could get triple quick shooting out next turn, to be honest. So we do want to find, ideally, a Zorua here. But we got to first start with finding enough Rapid Strike cards. We found ourselves the Malamar. Now we need to find a couple more Rapid Strike cards. This is not a Rapid Strike card. There's no Psychics to get off, so we can start with doing away the Fog Crystal here. There's 2 Remoraid in the deck. Still 2 Remoraid in the deck. There's the Zorua, though, but I might have to make do with the Zorua at this point, I feel like. Let's see if I evolve this. Have still make do the Scoop Up Net first, actually, I think. Make do the Scoop Up Net. 5, and we don't need that. And with the Rescue Carrier, I think we will have enough here. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this into a Cincino. We'll get another make do off here on this Fog Crystal. Before we do anything else, make do the Fog Crystal. And get the Zorua down now. Evolve to the Malamar. And how many did I need again before I forget? 5, 6, 7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with this. Or we could dig a little bit deeper with these and keep the draw supporter is almost what I'm thinking I want to do here. We might have to use it at the beginning of next turn. And even keep the energy would be nice as well. We know we have a Remoraid left in the deck, I believe. So I think I'm going to start with this. Grab the Artillery. We could go with the Rescue Carrier here, though. That's still going to be enough, though, right? 5, 6, 7. Oh, maybe I didn't need to be that aggressive, actually. We have the Rescue Carrier that recovers double Inkay, which is exactly what I'd want to recover off the Rescue Carrier. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I want to keep the energy. So 5. Okay, so no, I do want to do it like this. 5, because we can keep the energy, which would be great to attach to the Inkay at the beginning of next turn. So Rescue Carrier. Go Go ahead and grab double Inkay. And then we need, once again, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. Rapid strike. And I could actually even attach the energy now, but they could go with another boss or escape rope knockout, in which case I just want to hold the energy. Right? But what if they Marnie me? They could Marnie me, though. Why would they my hand want to be very big to Marnie, though. I think I'm just going to go ahead and throw this down. 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7's enough. And we just want to hold the draw supporter in the hand, because we just want to play that at the beginning of next turn. We just want to play the draw supporter, draw the cards, and then make do on top of the cards we draw. So that's why we hold the draw supporter here. Boom, 7, knockout. One more Suicune to go at this point. Research is an okay draw that draws one more than Korean's Focus. Cincino not going to do a whole ton for us, probably, but we could recover the Zoroark through an Ordinary Rod, get that back in play, and pull off another make do. So that is possible. We could take that route. The research, we're probably going to play over the Korean's Focus, because if we play the Korean's Focus, we lose a Rapid Strike card and draw 6 cards, or up to 6, but now with the Cincino, it actually gets stuck in the hand. So the research here is actually a really good draw, because we still lose a Rapid Strike card, but only one still. So it's like the same thing, but we draw +1 card. And then I guess the way we draw in +2 cards, we have this Cincino in the hand as well. So makes a ton of sense to actually just play it. To use the research. It makes sense to use the research, is what I'm trying to say here. It works out to use the research. And we got a ton of Rapid Strike cards in the deck, and we got a ton of recovery still. I think one of our Ordinary Rods is prized, but we have one more in the deck. We have plenty of Malamar still left in the deck, actually. We have 2 Malamar left in the deck. We do not have... The one thing we don't have here is we don't have access to the Octillery, but we could gain access to Octillery through the Zoroark still, potentially. So we're not out of it. I guess we're not out of that card yet, quite. Not quite are we out of that card. The Scoop Up Net and Evolution Incense from my opponent. They did evolve this to the Shady Dealings here, so we don't have to be worried about another quick shooting from my opponent. There is another quick shooting, and I assume it will get rare candied here, but they can't triple quick shooting in a turn, so they can't knock out the Inkay, which is like the main thing I was like, I'd say I was overly worried, but like the one thing I was like kind of worried about was them just getting the KO on my Inkay. But they can no longer get the KO on the Inkay because they can only quick shooting twice this turn. They are pressuring this Cincino, so I pretty much have to get the KO on this Suicune this turn, or I will lose the game. We have to get the KO on the Suicune. If we don't, we'll hit into it, and then they'll double quick shooting this Cincino and attack once again with the Suicune, and then we would lose the game. And they have the escape rope in hand, so even if I sent up this Cincino, I guess they could like ping it first and knock out around it anyway, so that wouldn't even work. Yeah, they win if I don't win on this turn. So we're all in this turn. We know that. Gonna go with the research and hopefully find enough Rapid Strike cards to get the knockout. We got the triple Cincino set up. We could maybe get the quad, like I said. If we can get the Zorua into a if we can evolve the Zorua into a Zoroark, which we'd like, if we'd have to like top deck Ordinary Rod to make that happen, to be honest. So if we top deck Ordinary Rod, we have a chance. Actually, here comes that escape rope from my opponent. I think we're just gonna send up the Inkay here. Wonder what they're trying to pull off with these shenanigans now they're throwing at us. Trying to slow down the game a little bit here, maybe? What are they trying to do here? Because now we can just get the KO on the Lotad, and it's not like they win anytime sooner, but they might be looking for some like kind of Marnie play plus KO my Cincino. So I definitely want to try and set up this Zoroark as soon as possible to make it into a Cincino, to be honest. Definitely going to be on our priority list to try and get that set up to then deal with the potential of... Yeah, okay, so level ball first. Take a look at the deck. Don't want to thin out any of that. We just need to find that Ordinary Rod. Play the research here. We could have maybe gone with Greenest Focus and then just make do and left the research in the deck, to be honest. There's the Ordinary Rod. We also got a Malamar here. I believe there is another Bruno in the deck. I'm going to do both. I do want to recover one of the Psychic Energies, so I'm going to grab this. Maybe both Psychic Energies, because then the Psychic Energies can become make do fodder. I don't know if this is correct. It feels fine, so we're going to go with it. I got the Malamar for the active here now. We're going to evolve. Okay, I just wanted to like make sure I was going to evolve, but I was like thinking about it for a second. I think I have another Bruno in the deck, so I'm actually going to make do this Bruno. Draw 2. There's that basic Psychic. Now we can make do that. Keep kind of chain in here. There's Karina's Focus. We can make do again, but we don't have to make do again, so I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to wait. Keep all the Rapid Strike cards in the deck. Just go ahead and press this button. Get rid of 2 things. And shuffle those back into the deck. Now, we didn't get the Zoroark, which is what I was kind of like aiming to try and find here. But it doesn't mean we can't get it. Got a Mincino off the prize cards, which we can use as more discard fodder potentially if we draw into it. But we're set up super well here, I think, to close this one out. We have the second Psychic Energy in the deck in case my opponent does go about the route of trying to like boss stall something, but they're probably at a boss here at this point with 2 down. Usually Suicune decks play 2 boss and an escape rope. They're all out of those shenanigans, so they're probably not gonna have my active here. The last play for them here would be Marnie and yeah, knock out the Malamar. So let's see if they have the Marnie to kind of go with this combo here. My hand is 6 cards, and I'm sure my opponent would like to make it a couple less. So if they got the Marnie here, they can do that, make my hand a little bit smaller. And that could be the difference between me getting the knockout or not. But if they don't get that, if they don't have a Marnie here, I'm pretty sure we got this one wrapped up. Almost guaranteed. I'm pretty positive. I actually should have, when I used Rapid Strike Tentacles here, I should have put the Malamars back in the deck because they have Evolution Incense in the deck. So if I draw into the Evolution Incense, I can use those to pull those back out of the deck. But I don't have any basic Pokemon search left. I think it's just Evolution Incense. So I should have made that play when I used the Rapid Strike Tentacles. I should have gotten rid of all my evolutions and less of my basic Pokemon. But yeah, but there's that Marnie. That's what I was talking about. They're setting up this Marnie play. They take away Cincino, so I lose a little bit of draw power. They still end up putting me on odd prize cards at the end, if it actually will end up mattering. There's the Bruno draw, though, so I'm feeling like we're in a great spot overall here. Yeah, I don't see us losing this one. We'll see. We'll see, but I think we could almost go with, if we send up this, then we almost just only have Rapid Strike cards left in the deck. So if I play Bruno for 7, I might only draw Rapid Strike cards, and we only need 6. So gonna do this. We're gonna get another Cincino to work with just in case, and then I can burn both of the Evolution Incense here. Grab nothing, basically. Basically all Rapid Strike cards. Play another one, grab nothing. Attach the Psychic Energy, play the Bruno, and then we need 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's already 6 in the hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we clean up this last Suicune to get the dub. And that's how you do it with Malamar. And the Zoroarks came in pretty clutch there overall. Just making sure we constantly had Cincinos in play, even when my opponent tried to get funky with what they focused down. And usually when we have the Zoroarks in play, they don't even try and focus anything down because they know how the Zoroark works and they'll just bring it back. But they were definitely useful in that one in, you know, recovering more Cincinos. All right, we get the coin flip dub this time. So let's go ahead. Let's go first. The only matchup we really want to go second, I think I mentioned, is that Mew VMAX matchup. But if we don't hit up against that, then going first is definitely where we want to be. So I'm gonna go first here, and yeah, hopefully, I mean, we've got a pretty good start so far. A couple Inks and a Mincino, and we don't really need a whole ton on our first turn as long as our opponent doesn't take a knockout on their first turn. Of course, I have a ton of HP on a lot of our Pokemon, so it is very possible for my opponent to take some knockouts. Pretty aggressively, actually. Excuse me. I'll go ahead and throw a Spiral Energy active, just in case my opponent Marnie's, and we'll have it already set up and in play. And they open a Sobble, so I'm not too scared of my opponent taking big knockouts here. Zacian coming down. So Inteleon, Zacian for my opponent, and already a Cape making its way into play as well. There's going to be some big Zacians we're going to have to get some KOs on. So we're going to need to set up quite a bit of stuff here. But it probably won't be too difficult, to be honest. We're not having to get 8. Going to have to get around... what, 7? Yeah, 7. We'll have to get 7 Rapid Strike cards to get 1 at KOs on the Zacians with the Capes. 6 without the Cape. Or actually, will we need 8? No, we'll need 7. We'll need 7. Make a whole ton of sense. Yeah, we'll need 7. All right. All Crystal top deck. Don't really want another Inkay in play. But I'm going to scoop up net this. Throw it back down. Fog Crystal. Grab a Psychic Energy. Throw it on the Inkay, and then go ahead and play Karina's Focus to draw some cards. See a whole ton. We did see enough to actually get a KO, though, which is, I think, good enough for me. We could actually make do here. I don't know if I really like making do here, to be honest. It's like one of those few situations. I'm probably fine with it. Go ahead and get a Rapid Strike card anyways. Okay, we did end up getting one. It's like where it's like really close to if I actually want to make do there. Like, yeah, do I actually want to make do there? Because I could whiff, but we don't end up whiffing. We get the cards we need. We can actually set up another Mincino here. And then, yeah, Rapid Strike Tentacles, get rid of these 2. The chance is so high that we get a Rapid Strike card there. Then we also get the +1 card to work with that I think it's worth it to go with it. And if I did whiff, I could have just like not got this Mincino in play, and I think we still would have been fine overall. So I don't think it's like that risky because we still would have been able to get the knockout no matter what. But we do get to set up that much further now that we did kind of, you know, take that extra risk. There was a potential that we whiff getting a Rapid Strike card there, and things would have got a little bit more awkward. We don't whiff, and we're in business. And my opponent actually ends up sending up the Zacian here. No metal in the discard. I thought they maybe had some kind of Raihan play going on there, but I don't think they have the Raihan play going on yet. They don't have a metal in the discard like I mentioned. Maybe the Primate Wisdom gives it to them, or they might just have to settle for an Intrepid Sword. Okay, not yet. The Drizzle's coming down. So shady dealings on the way. Yeah, the question is, will they be able to, they probably won't be able to attack with Zacian here, which gives us like another turn to set up. Of course, then I would have to give up this ordinary rod, but I think I'm fine with how efficient our draw has been so far and how set up we are. I think I'm fine with losing this ordinary rod, to be honest. Overall, I don't think we're gonna really need it with how well the game is going for us so far. And of course, maybe we'll top deck something like I can't even think of anything. Well, if they knock us out, we'd get to use it, I guess. Maybe they'll knock us out, and then we'll get to actually use the ordinary rod to recover the Malamar. But I have a feeling that's probably not going to happen. Energy search for the metal energy here. So Zacian is getting set up, but yeah, like I said, I don't think we're going to get KO'd by Zacian this turn. Unless there's some kind of miracle play. They could like play a research and like switch air balloon, metal saucer. So I guess it is possible, but as of this point, I think it's pretty unlikely. Second Zacian on the way. And the last card in hand, I'm gonna go ahead and assume is a research. It's actually a Marnie. Okay, so the Marnie does save the ordinary rod, so we got that going for us, I guess. We do get to keep our ordinary rod here. The draw is okay, not great, but nothing really to complain about, to be honest. And we're just gonna try and hit as hard as we possibly can this turn. This looks like it's gonna have to be their next attacker anyways, so we're gonna throw down the Mincino. I'm not gonna attach anywhere. I kind of almost want to bench this Inkay because of, I mean, I'd rather get a Zorua down, though. I think a Zorua would be perfect in this situation, to be honest. I don't even have to Bruno. I can just start making do on these and just kind of see what we draw. There's the Zorua. And now I'm just going to play the research, I think. Just draw a bunch more cards. We do lose that Inkay there, but I really don't think that's the end of the world by any means. I think we can deal with losing that Inkay there. I'm gonna go ahead and make do away the, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do need 7, but if I get rid of the Zorua and I draw into another Rapid Strike card, we can actually get the KO, or 2 Rapid Strike cards. Ooh, just a little short, I think, right? I think we're just a little short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, not quite. So I think I'm gonna hold the Malamar. And just get rid of the artillery line, to be honest, on this hit here. Because I really like keeping everything else. Just get rid of the artillery line. Now I kind of wish I hadn't got rid of this Zorua, because I would have much rather benched the Zorua. But now we can go like Zoroark, Inkay, attach to the fresh Inkay, Cincino, research, and then we're just like super set up at that point. So then we're still looking really, really good. And we should easily be able to get the KO on this Zacian on the next turn. That shouldn't be too big of a sweat. Maybe could have put the Spiral Energy back in the deck to hit a little bit harder, to be honest, now that I'm kind of looking at that. I wouldn't have minded throwing the Spiral Energy back, because we definitely want to get into the point of where we just are kind of only using the basic energy if we can, and then just the Spiral Energy kind of repeatedly loop in the deck, rather than have them out here, to be honest, on the field, losing them. So to be honest, I could have set the Spiral Energy back to the deck, and I think I probably should have, looking back on it now. My opponent actually runs the Zacian away here. And then metal. Oh, can they set up a fresh Zacian here? And then maybe they never have to bring the Zacian back to the active. That feels like a stretch, though. But it is possible that this Zacian never comes back to the active. We never get a chance to hit it again, and it always just stays there with that 80 damage. We actually don't play any gust cards. We play 0 gusting cards, so we can't ever gust anything back into the active. Once it's kind of ran away like that, it's just there. It's wherever my opponent puts it from here on out. If they're gonna leave it on the bench, that's where it stays. Can't do anything about it. Quick ball coming down now as well. Yeah, they got the Zacian set up. Of course, they'll probably have to attack with this Zacian again, because eventually they run out of metal saucers and can't constantly create new Zacians. So this Zacian will probably have to attack again. And if not, if this one attacks, we can probably get to a one-hit KO on this one on that following turn. I'd be pretty confident that we'd be able to pull that off. Yeah, I'd be pretty confident we'd be able to pull that off. All right. So we're still looking fine. Hopefully we get the one-hit KO here. Like I said, we only need that 7. Usually, or sometimes we have to reach for that 8, that 8 Rapid Strike cards when we're going up against the VMAX Pokemon. The Cape on the Zacian, 7, so a little bit less than the 8. Not quite as hard. All right, Malamar up. Draw for turn into an Inkay. Okay, so I guess we're gonna level ball and maybe just fail. Or I could actually thin out this Mincino. Or actually I could thin out this Encino, so I could actually go quad make do this turn through the Zoroark. And that would set up a lot of extra damage. Oh yeah, here's a pretty cool play here. Grab the Zoroark, throw that down, Research. Yeah, we should be able to get the KO here almost certainly with how much draw power we got going on now. We're not there yet, though, already. It doesn't look great, but quite a few make-dos to do. Oh, probably should have gotten rid of that net, though, actually. Rid of the Mencino. Yeah, probably should have held on to that net, actually. I'm already kind of regretting that. I think that was a mistake for sure. How many Brunos do I have left? Not a ton. I want to keep both Brunos if I can. Do the level ball. Great Ball is almost always guaranteed to Pokemon, whereas level ball, not always. Fourth Cincino. We rarely get to this point ever. The quad Cincino on the board. But the Zoroark makes it so much easier to set up, because while we have the Zoroark in play, we're playing around a ton of things, and then when we get to this board state, we can just go all out into these Cincinos. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we already have, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We already have 7 here. That's going to be the knockout here. Quad Cincino. My goodness. Yeah, Quad Cincino out on the board. That is super sick. 7 KO on the Zacian. Wow. Yeah, you rarely get the Quad Cincino out. Like I said, when you have the Zoroark to back you up there, though, it could become a Malamar, could become an Octillery, and then when the board stabilizes like this, well, it's going to become a Cincino at this point, and it becomes a Cincino, and now we are swinging big here. And my opponent, after that kind of like retreat play, it's going to take a lot to get another Zacian online, and even if they do with this much draw power, I am not worried at all about getting the return knockout. And we still have both our ordinary. Actually, we do have all of our Pokemon. We have all of our Pokemon recovery left. So I'm not at all concerned about keeping this going as well. We're going to be able to keep this chain going for the foreseeable future as well. Even if they are able to somehow take a knockout this turn, we're definitely going to be able to keep it up. We have the Bruno in hand as well, which is the perfect reset. Start with the Bruno, then you start playing stuff out from there. Yeah, and it just all kind of comes together. That's why I was really focused on trying to conserve the Brunos there when we were doing our make-dos. This is what we really want to focus on, is just like Bruno towards this late game. It's the most efficient draw card. It shuffles all the cards in the hand back into the deck, which we're going to have a couple between our top deck and the prize cards. And maybe we left a couple in our hand when we have like this big of a turn like we did last turn. Going to have a pretty big or a decent sized hand to work with that we're going to want to put back in the deck. We don't want to research away a bunch of Rapid Strike cards. Karina's probably not going to draw us as much as well. So Bruno is like the perfect card to get us to those big numbers. That's why we focus very heavily on keeping those. All right, looks like my opponent might be able to pull an attack off here, but it is, once again, with this damagation. So was it really worth it, my opponent, you know, trying to get that to the bench, trying to conserve that? Make me work a little bit harder. Maybe not. Here's a Marnie, though, actually. That's going to hurt quite a bit. My hand was pretty good. I would like that back. We do get a Karina's Focus. Ooh, and the Surchester's Bath just going to make it so we need now 6, actually, on the Rapid Strike cards here. Okay, so this actually, that got weird. The Brunos are on the bottom of the deck. My Pokemon Recovery is going to be the next cards coming up, actually, which also isn't good, because I don't want to be drawing into Pokemon Recovery here. I want to be drawing into Rapid Strike cards. So let's go get close here. Coming up, let's get close here on this next turn. We'll see. We'll see what we top deck here. We'll see what the Karina's Focus gets us. Octillery is not good, let me tell you. Let's Karina's Focus for 2. Oh no, should I shuffle the deck first? But then I have to start making do away Rapid Strike cards, which I really don't want to do. We do kind of have to make do into, we didn't have like a, we need this. This is what we needed. We needed the Ordinary Rod. That's what we needed. So let's go ahead and do this. Do both. Let's go ahead and get ourselves double Inkay. Yes, and then some Psychic Energy. Well, that'll become some good make do fodder down the line. Make do away a Remoraid. Make do away a Psychic Energy. Will I be able to pull together the knockout on this turn? I think we're just about there. Evolve. What I say, we need 6. 1, 2, 3. We're almost there. We're not quite there. I could Ordinary Rod again. Not gonna get the basic energy this time. Just gonna go ahead and get ourselves a Malamar and an Inkay, I think. And now we're gonna make do the Bruno here. To keep all the Rapid Strike cards around. This time we kind of have to get rid of the Bruno. We do have another Bruno left potentially for the last turn, but this should be able to close it out no problem. Now they do have a Metal Saucer left, so they could go Raihan Metal Saucer to be able to attack next turn, so I still need a bench and Inkay. But if I play the Great Ball, we should be able to hit a Rapid Strike Pokemon, and then I should be able to go Malamar, bench Inkay, and then get rid of 6 here. And that'll get us... Oh, no, isn't it 7 now? No, it is 6 now. It's 6. I was like, oh, no, I think I messed up. No, it is 6. 6 is the number we're trying to get to. Boom, knock out this Zacian. Like I said, the Raihan, still a possibility for my opponent, though. They can still actually get the return knockout here with Raihan Metal Saucer. Great Ball's not going to do a whole ton for us. Evolution Incense also not very good. We're looking for draw supporters, really, at this point. But they might all just be in the deck, actually. 1 Bruno, and 2 Karina's Focus are left. And this is the kind of the board state, though, that, you know, the Cinccino's have been great. The Quad Cinccino's been great so far. But, there is a point where we do want, you know, sometimes we do want that Octillery that can find us that Karina's Focus. And with this kind of board state, we don't have that option. So keeping the Zoroark around as an option as long as possible is always best. And you can see how this one's developed, where we're kind of locked in on this Quad Cinccino now. And it's not quite... It's good, but like I'm saying, there is like a better. And the better would definitely be... There's a boss on my Cinccino. We have 1 Psychic Energy left, so we have to be careful here with how we play this. We have to make sure we get the knockout before we retreat. There's the Bruno top deck. I don't think I actually want to use it. I think I'm just going to start with some Make Do's here. I might not even try and attack this turn. We might just Make Do a lot and then look for the attack on the next turn. Bunch of Make Do's going down. Can basically draw the whole deck, but there's the Concede. Apparently my opponent didn't get it or thought we were gonna have it, and they go with the Concede. I thought there was still some play there from my opponent. Yeah, we were gonna get... It was gonna get a little bit awkward on the Make Do's there. The Concede comes in from my opponent. I think we probably would have won in the end, but I don't think it was over quite yet. So a little bit of a premature Concede there, I think, for my opponent. But get the dub in the end. That's another one with the Malamar, and I think you guys saw for sure the kind of the flexibility that the Zoroark gives you throughout your game, to kind of making sure that you don't kind of run out of anything, and you could keep the options of everything around as well. And it almost feels like we use the Octillery so much less. Now that I have the Zoroark, it like kind of makes it so much easier to keep so many Cinccino's in play, or to set up Cinccino's, and I find myself just not using the Octillery very much at all. So I think I might even try and test a build that just doesn't play the Octillery. I don't know how it would go, but I've been finding myself not using the Octillery quite as much, or even at all in games, ever since adding the Zoroark, so they just kind of make it easier to get into the Cinccino's. So that'd be maybe the next step to take in testing out or playing games with this Malamar deck. But if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.